Have you ever heard of that? I think it's like a cartoon, Wallace and Gromit. I never want to watch a cartoon called Wallace and Gromit. It reminds me of a fat Filipino faggot that hung out in gay bars in Vancouver. This fat Filipino faggot, that's all he could talk about was Wallace and Gromit. This fat Filipino faggot was, I don't know, let's say he was 28. What's a 28-year-old doing watching children's cartoons? This fat Filipino faggot, um, he liked Glee Club. You know what Glee Club is? And in Vancouver, anywhere in Canada, they don't have a Glee Club. It's strictly something from Los Angeles. Only someone from Los Angeles would even think of the name Glee and put it with club. But, it's supposed to be in high school and it's for prospective actors to have a chance to do musicals. There was the TV show about Glee Club, and I guess it was a minor hit. The star of this Glee Club show was from Vancouver, Canada. We don't know if he was a faggot or not. Probably most people from Vancouver are faggots. It's the most faggoty place on planet Earth. Why is it? I don't know. Maybe it's the combination of the oceans and the mountains. It's probably because it's Canadian. Everyone knows that Alex Trebek is a Canadian Ponce. Alex Trebek from Jeopardy. So there's no doubt that there's something to do with Canadians. Who are the queerest people on the planet? Yes, they come. Actually, the only place queerer. Oh my God, I was going to say it was Toronto, but then I got to start thinking about Montreal, and then I immediately thought of Quebec City. Good God, there's a lot of queers in Montreal, but per capita, there's Quebec City or Montreal. What's queerer? They're officious, French faggots. They're officious. They work as a hotel desk clerk, sometimes as a waiter, and if they work as a waiter, they've got a certain swish to the way they walk, and they're very efficient. They're very efficient. In Vancouver, there's a famous restaurant called the Elbow Room, and they'll only hire officious, swishy faggots to be the waiter. And the job of the waiter there is put downs. They're put down artists. So you're supposed to make comments. You're supposed to play with the whole game at the Elbow Room. You're supposed to play with the waiter. And it's fair game to say, hey, faggot, get me some more coffee or something. Because the gay waiter or the actor playing the gay waiter will have to have a proper comeback for you. What's the proper comeback for a swishy gay waiter who's been told, hey, faggot, get me some more coffee? I don't know if I can even wear the hat. My hair's dreadful. Anyway, the gay waiter he wouldn't have a hat on. He'd probably have a $250 haircut from Robson Street, and he'd give you a look. What would the look be? Sister, please, get off your ass and get it yourself. I'll have to work on that. That's not enough it's the accent, the queer accent. It's got to be more lispy, so it's going to be sister, sister, get off your fat ass and get it yourself. It still doesn't have enough snake bite venom in it. It's got to be something vicious. A vicious. It's like, you know, she was just down at the community clinic and she found out she had a new case of syphilis. It's only been the 10th time. I call it a she because she's very feminine. Sister. I don't know. Sister, if you got syphilis, get off your ass and go get your own damn cup of coffee. No, it's still not. It's not coming out right. Okay, so the gay waiter's going to have like a gold hoop earring, not teeny tiny, but it's going to be quite large, like a pirate, and pretty much an ugly face. It's not going to be a pretty homosexual. It's going to be an ugly butch. If she was a real woman and lesbian, they'd call her butch. One time I was on Davie Street in the restaurant there. I'll think of the name in a minute. In the restaurant, and it was kind of a 1950s Art Deco kind of restaurant with black and white tiles and lots of chrome stools. How do you seat for homosexuals if there's only one bar stool? Turn it upside down. Anyway, on Davie Street is the famous, one of the famous 3 streets in Vancouver as part of the Fruit Loop. You go down Davie Street, and then there's a Cross Street down at the end, and then you come up Robson Street, the shopping street. So I was in this restaurant, Hamburger Mary's. Now, if you don't know what a Mary is, one homosexual calls another homosexual Mary. And it's usually because one homosexual has done something stupid. And the other homosexual will have put on an air of arrogance and superiority and will go, Mary, you really don't wear purple lipstick on a Tuesday. Hamburger Mary's was the name of the restaurant I was in, and I was having a burger and fries. I know it was the tourist season, and you got to go down to the Fruit Loop to, I got to have material for my jokes. So that's where you got to go around different parts of town so you can have. I mean, it's ethnic. Vancouver's very ethnic, and there's different. In addition to the gay West End, there's Chinatown, and if you go out to Surrey, it's full of people from northern India. If you go to Richmond, it's like going to, it used to be like going to Hong Kong, but now there's a lot more Chinese immigrants from other places in China. So, but it's definitely, it's so Chinese that there's more Chinese signs on the street than there are English. English people that used to live in Richmond started to complain to city council that they couldn't figure out where they were because there was no more English street signs, and all the Chinese on city council just kind of grinned. They had those were black glasses. These ones are kind of green, but this kind, but black, dark black. Why is it that Chinese people and people from India always wear dark black plastic rimmed glasses? I don't know, but they always do. But back at Hamburger Mary's in the Fruit Loop, a motorcycle pulls up, and one broad is a butch lesbian. She, Carol Pope comes to mind. Now, this was an old, I think she was a Canadian singer, and she was lesbian, and she was butch, and she was the epitome of butch lesbian. You could imagine her wearing jeans, dark blue jeans, black leather motorcycle jacket with little metal stallions on it. I don't know what you call those little metal things. and well zippered extra leather belt around here, black, dirty looking curlyish hair, and taken to fat. I mean, she was on the fatter side, probably 30 pounds overweight. And pretty much dressed like a male biker with maybe with a bandana. And so she was on the front of the bike, and on the back of the bike on the birch pitch. It's called the bitch perch. That's the little seat behind the first seat on a motorbike. The bitch perch was a lipstick lesbian. This would be Anne Heche was the famous lipstick lesbian. She was Carol DeGeneres' girlfriend. Ellen DeGeneres' girlfriend for a while. And then Anne Heche, after she divorced Ellen, she married a man and settled down. But actually, I don't think Anne Heche is quite appropriate. This lipstick lesbian was Victoria's Secret quality. So imagine a lesbian who was a Victoria's Secret model. That's really weird because it's basically dirty old men who get those catalogs. I think they pay good money to get those catalogs, and it's just to look at the Victoria's Secrets models, and they're just wearing underwear. They're not nude or anything, and they could go down to the Circle K and get a nudie magazine if they wanted. But no, they pay the extra money, the $7.50 for a Victoria's Secret catalog, and they like to leer at these women. Little did they know that they're all lipstick lesbians. Vancouver's not only famous for homosexual men, but lesbians. Vancouver is incredibly. It's a wonder there's any children at all there because it's nothing but same-sex marriages. But they filmed the L Word in Vancouver, which was all L for lesbian, and I don't know. I never watched the L Word. I knew what it was, and it just didn't turn me on at all. I did a stint in Vancouver. Mostly what I did, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, telling stupid stories, is I worked as an extra in the movies in Vancouver. And I did work a couple of times on the L Word as an extra. And there was zero creativity in that show, I could tell. It just looked incredibly boring from the perspective of being an extra, so I never really was drawn to try and get into it. Search for Tomorrow was an old soap opera, and my grandmother watched it in the 1970s. As the Stomach Turned was Carol Burnett's take on these kind of soap operas. That was As the World Turned. I think it was on NBC, As the Stomach Turned. That's the L Word. One episode, I sat with a woman in a trendy Vancouver gastropubs, just trendy, overpriced, crappy food where they charge you $12 for a small glass of wine. So I had to sit there while two of these L Word lesbians were having a conversation at the neighboring table. And God, it was boring. And the other time I worked on the L Word, they were doing something strange. They couldn't come up with an interesting script, so what they did is they showed the episode being made. So they showed all the stagecraft people, like the lighting technicians and the gaffers. So those are the people that help the lighting technicians, and the film setup guys, and all those people were in the shot because they didn't have anything interesting to talk about among the lesbian characters. So they just showed how the show was being made, and I was a gaffer. It was filmed in the downtown east side of Vancouver, which is famous for being a drug haven, open air dealing of heroin, fentanyl, et cetera, and people just falling over right and left. It's like a shooting gallery. Well, it is a shooting gallery. They shoot up their heroin, and then they fall over and they pass out in the back alleys. And it's so popular that the Vancouver city set up a couple of tents down there where they station nurses with Narcan, because there's just every day there's 100 addicts overdose. Why is it like that? I don't know how they get the money to buy this expensive heroin. I think it's being faked. I think it's Hollywood North. Everyone knows that Vancouver is where Hollywood goes to shoot on the cheap because it's a Canadian dollar. It's way cheaper than American dollars, and they get government subsidies. So I think what happens is Hollywood North has staged the heroin addiction problem on Hastings Street in Vancouver, so that they can always go down there and film their cop shows, because there's already Vancouver police and fire trucks and ambulances with all their lights flashing, so they don't have to pay for that. It's already there. The sirens are going. So, you can just set up a scene on East Hastings Street, and you don't have to pay to have all that other stuff for the background, which is pretty expensive. You're going to hire the police and, fire and ambulance to come in, be in your set. That's very expensive. So you want to do it in the cheap. You just have an ongoing heroin epidemic, and then you don't have to pay for all that stuff, and you can shoot your cop show really, really cheap. Maybe I should go back to Vancouver and do a cop show. I'm Jokey McFlokey.